Is that during 2020, we had the special elections to elect her to be the president for signing documents purposes because we really needed someone to act as a president.
Do you have the minutes?
Yes, I believe we have the minutes in the
Will you
office.
please submit those minutes to us so we can verify whether you're telling the truth?
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
I presume that this was submitted to the Securities and Exchange Commission.
I believe so, Mr. Chairman. I will check.
I
So,
believe so. Are you sure?
my memory doesn't serve me right, Mr. Chairman. I will have to check.
From whom?
But I know that the board of there were some minutes of the meeting for that board
You're trying
meeting.
to impress upon me that you don't know?
Pardon, Mr. Chairman?
You're trying to impress upon me that you don't know? Your record of telling the truth isn't exactly sterling, you know?
Yes, what I'm saying is we do have the minutes of the board meeting, and I believe that it's supposed to be submitted to the SEC. So I presume it has.
If you think that you're going to play a game with us, we're not going to conclude the hearings until you people come around and provide all these minutes, because we're prepared to call meetings every day. We're on vacation right now, but we're going to call hearing after hearing if necessary daily. I'm told by some of your friends who tried to intercede for Lincoln that you're having you're all stressed out. You're prepared to tell the truth, but you're afraid. Is that true?
When we are telling the truth.
No, my question is not that. All right. Okay, now let me proceed. I have documents here that say, would this be a correct statement that you have already collected a total of 6 billion 907 million 6,720 pesos from DBM, you yourself?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. If that's on record, then it should be true.
No, it is true, right? Yes or
Yes,
no?
Mr. Chairman.
Because I don't like this should be. What should be is not is. Now, that means you were collecting the checks. And where did you bring the checks after you collected them?
To our banks.
And your banks are Union Bank, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And also Asian United Bank?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And also BDO?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Did you put this money in these banks?
Yes,
No,
Mr. Chairman.
no point in lying. I already have your.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I did.
So you did, all right? And did you withdraw them afterwards?
We pay them to our suppliers. We transfer them to our suppliers.
Give me an example of payment to your suppliers.
Like payment to Tigerfield.
Tigerfield. How much did you pay Tigerfield?
What's based on the sales invoice.
Well, I'm asking the questions. You're answering me with
I don't have the records with
no,
me.
but you should remember, this was the first contract. This is the first contract that you got, right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, now let me ask you a question. Who concocted this idea that you guys are going to supply the government with all these supplies? Was it you?
Pardon, Mr. Chairman?
Who concocted the idea that you'll form this corporation to supply the government? No, you already had a corporation. That you would enter into contractual arrangements to bid for these large amounts of supplies that you were going to supply the government.
It was a group. It was the board that decided that we would.
Who?
Well, Mr. Ong brought it up to the group, saying that there was this post sometime in March, Mr. Chairman.
In March. Well, in March, middle of March, last week of March.
Maybe middle. or start of middle maybe middle.
Yeah, middle. And what was his basis for proposing? Exactly did he propose?
In fulfillment of your contracts. Would you confirm that? That's in your financial statements. If you look at it.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, whatever is in our financial statements is accurate.
Recall your financial statements saying cost of sales 7,092,000,000. Who are your suppliers, Mr. Dargani?
I believe Mr. Lincoln Ong has already provided it, and it was already read by
Sorry,
Mr.
sir. Sorry. Ano?
I believe Mr. Ong has already provided the list of our suppliers, and Mr. Chairman has already read it.
All right. Okay, Mr. Ong is here. Mr. Ong,
Excuse me.
Oh,
Please try to put
suppliers?
words in my mouth.
Huh?
Mr. Ong just mentioned this guy, and as if he told me a lot. He doesn't told me a lot. He just said, "Oh, I made a quick fix. I went to Tiger Phil, and then after Tiger Phil was discovered, oh, they went to Green Trends, right? Yung ba supplier niyo? You know,
Mr. Chairman,
I have a-
Tiger Phil is one of my supplier.
Who's answering?
Sir, would you mind removing your mask kung wala namang tao dyan? I can hardly hear you. Mr. Ong, my question is, who are your major suppliers from whom you got your supplies that you in turn delivered to PSDBM in fulfillment of your obligations under your contract, under your supply contract? Yeah, who are
Mr.
the,
Chairman,
yes,
for the mask we have two suppliers. Number one is Tiger Phil. Number two is Wang Jie. For the PPE, as I mentioned in several hearings already, we seek the help of Mr. Yang, and I already furnished the committee a list of the suppliers from the side of Mr. Yang. And then for the BGI test kits, we have BGI as a manufacturer, as the supplier, Your Honor.
would you have also an indication of, in your submission to us, of how much did you, how much in terms of purchases did you make from each of your supplier?
I did not include that, Mr. Chairman.
Can you now include that? Because that is in your financial statements. Can you submit, can we have documents to support or at least for you to be able to tell us who are your suppliers, as you have just mentioned, and how much contract or how much did you purchase from them individually?
I have to seek the guidance of our counsel, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry? If you
I have
can,
to seek advice.
you have to what?
I have to seek advice from my counsel muna, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. You have submitted this. You have submitted your financial statements to the committee. We are asking for the support documents on what you have submitted as financial statements because your external auditor, Ms. Sibyal, said she did not see any support documents. So that's why I'm asking, can you submit to us the documents in support of the purchases that you made from your suppliers?
Putol. Nawala. Wala.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, nawala po, Mr. Chairman. Nawala po.
How can you hear me now?
Yes po. I can hear you now, Mr. Chairman.
My question is, your audited financial statements indicate a total of 7,092,000,000 in round figures as cost of sales, meaning this is what you paid your suppliers, which enabled you to fulfill your obligations with PSDBM. Question, would you, I asked you the question, who are these suppliers? And you stated who are the suppliers. The next question is, can you tell us how much is the contract of each of your supplier, which corresponds to the 7,092,000,000 as your cost of sales?
Mr. Chairman, I got your question, Mr. Chairman. As I said, I'll have to seek the advice of our counsel before committing anything to this committee.
All right, because I'm telling you that when we ask these questions, which are already on record insofar as portions of the answers are concerned, in this particular case, you have submitted, your company has submitted audited financial statements. Your audited financial statements indicate the cost of sales. You have already indicated who are the suppliers that you have contracted to, starting with Tiger Marketing and the rest of the suppliers. The next question I ask is, how much are these contracts that you have entered into with your suppliers? Now you are refusing to answer my question after answering on record all these questions that you earlier made. You are insisting that you would not want to answer these questions.
Mr. Chairman, allow me to seek advice from my counsel.
All right. So can you tell us that can you tell us your counsel's advice at the next hearing?
Definitely, Mr. Chairman. Whatever is the conclusion, I will definitely relay to this committee, Mr. Chairman.
We have no more questions on Mr. Ong, Mr. Chairman, because he could not, we will have to await advice of his counsel. Well, yes, that's all in the meantime, Mr. Chairman. I will yield the floor to whoever of my colleagues who would still have questions. I have no more questions in the meantime. On Mr. Ong, there is a pending question. He will consult his counsel, and therefore we will await for his response after he has consulted his counsel, which he is entitled to. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I don't quite agree with that, Senator Dillon, because he has already submitted the documents and we can confront him with those documents. But if he wants to kill time, we're happy to accommodate him. He can consult his clients and he's blue in the face. We are allowed to confront him with the document that he submitted.
Yes,